Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let's get something straight real quick when it comes to Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. When it comes to this year, 2023. Listen, a lot of these content creators are, first let me just say that they're not fighting in 2023. Okay? They're not fighting in 2023. Now, there are a lot of people who are creating content, and I notice they just keep recycling the same crap, man. You know? They keep recycling the same crap. Terrence Crawford stories, Errol Spence, they're gonna fight them. They're gonna fight this person. Oh, they're gonna fight that person. I'm gonna give you guys the raw and uncut. Okay? This is the path these guys are on. And this is no bullshit. Because it's annoying for me to see what these guys are doing out here. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, I'm telling you, they're not going to fight in 2023 because of this. The main reason, okay, is what happened got to get in the habit of saying last year, and because we're in 2023 now, right? It's because what happened with these guys with their fight negotiations breaking down. It doesn't matter who you want to blame, okay? I'm not here to talk about that. That's what these content creators are doing. They keep talking about this because you guys are entertaining them, and you guys are paying them all these little tips and super thanks and all this shit, which is your right. And they're just going to keep doing that and just sucking your eyeballs out. But they're not telling y'all the truth. So I'm not asking for nothing. If you guys do something, that's on you. I'm just going to give you the truth. This is the deal. The breakdown in negotiation put a sour taste in the mouth of those sanctioning bodies. You have all the sanctioning bodies. It doesn't matter who had a mandatory, who didn't have a mandatory. We all understand in a perfect world, when it comes to an undisputed distinction or a unification, those take precedence over just the mandatory. Okay? This isn't something I'm making up. That's how it's supposed to happen. That doesn't mean it's a guarantee. The sanctioning bodies have to come together and agree. And a lot of times you'll see a guy who's the mandatory, that's where he gets paid a little step-aside fee, etc., etc. What happened with Stanley Eunice, right? But what happens in a case like Spence and Crawford, the fight doesn't materialize. Everyone's excited. It doesn't happen for whatever reasons. You guys want to call Bud names, call Earl names. You want to call Al Heyman names. You want to call Steven Espinoza names. You want to blame BLK Prime. That doesn't matter. The bottom line is sanctioning bodies are seeing now, okay, we get paid off the efforts of fighters. If our belts aren't getting defended, we're not getting money. They can't afford to let that happen again. Because what you have here with these fighters, right, they say they're their own man, especially Crawford. He's his own man. And he's going to do what's best for him. And what's best for him may not be what's best for these sanctioning bodies. Earl Spence, he may want to do certain things, but his hands are kind of tied because, he has Al Heyman. Earl Spence just can't come in a knee-jerk reaction and say, I'm going to go fight this guy because this is taking too long. I'm not getting the answers I want. This is dragging out. See, and that's the good thing about the position Crawford's in, but also kind of the bad thing because as a result, he can't be controlled. And at the end of the day, that is something that affected the fight from taking place. The fact that Crawford felt a kind of way as far as how he was being received by the Spence team, and then the Spence team feeling like, hey, Crawford wasn't being transparent, and he chose to go do something instead of just letting us know straight up, hey, this is what I'm going to go do next. We can kind of pick up from there. If I win, then we can continue with negotiations, and we can fight in Feb, right? An easy fight, 10 million, whatever. A total breakdown in communication. But you think those sanctioning bodies care? They don't care about that. They missed out on an opportunity to get paid. And they don't like that. So now you look at what's happening, right? Ever since that Spence and Crawford crap happened, where the fight didn't materialize, you saw an immediate push to get these elite welterweights, to get them active. Pay attention. Stanley Eunice and Ortiz. Okay? That's something y'all need to understand right now. Stop with the foolishness about Ortiz is going to fight Crawford or Stanley Eunice is going to fight Jaron Ennis. Shut up. That's not what's going to happen. That's not because I say so. Look, Stanley Eunice and Ortiz are about to fight. Now, if you look here underneath the WBO, okay, Ortiz is number one, right? He's ranked number one right now. He's going to fight for the WBA world title with Stanley Eunice. Ortiz is coming out of the WBO rankings. He's going to be over here in the WBA rankings. Now, so him and Stanley Eunice, they're not even in the WBO picture for either one of those guys to fight Terrence Crawford. Okay? You can't go and fight for this title and still think you're going to be able to come back now and fight for the WBO. No, man, all those rights and everything, all that shit is released. You set that aside, and now you're saying, okay, this is the direction I want to go. So they're all committed to the WBA right now. So Virgil Ortiz he's no longer the top guy. Once they update this list, Virgil Ortiz is off of there. So y'all need to pay attention to that. Now, the winner of that fight, because first, Earl Spence has to fight Thurman, right? That's a fact. That's the first thing that's going to happen here. Earl Spence and Thurman. That's going to happen in April. But after that, this whole thing about Ortiz and Stanley Eunice, they're going to be next in line. The winner of that fight going to go against Earl Spence. Now, this is where it gets interesting. And this is where it sucks. And under the WBO, we got Virgil Ortiz. He's out of there now. Next in line, the number 2 is who? Boots Ennis, right? People keep saying, oh, Boots are going to fight Crawford. No, he is not. Boots Ennis is about to fight this guy, Karen Chikadzian, right? Boots Ennis is number 2 in the WBO, but he's dropping off. He's going underneath the IBF because he's fighting for an interim title to make him the mandatory to Earl Spence. And they already said if he wins within 120 days, Earl Spence is going to have to fight him. But that doesn't mean that as soon as Earl Spence beats Thurman, Earl Spence has another mandatory before Boots Ennis. But this is the point I want to make here. Y'all need to listen to this part. This is what sucks. So we know Virgil Ortiz drops off the WBO. He's under the WBA now. That's where he's going because he's fighting for that title. Jaron Ennis falls from under the WBO. Him and Terrence Crawford aren't on the same path no more. He's underneath the IBF now. This is what sucks. You got Earl Spence fighting Keith Thurman first. Then after that, Earl Spence has another mandatory for the WBA. And he has a mandatory for the WBF. The sanctioning bodies are not working together. What you could see happen to Earl Spence is what they did to Josh Taylor. They forced 2 mandatories on Earl Spence at the same time. It's impossible to fight 2 opponents at the same time. As a result, Earl Spence has to pick and choose one. The other, if he picks the WBA, well, now the IBF's okay. You don't want to defend our belt? All right, boom. We're going to force you into purse bid against whoever the mandatory is, which it should be Boots Ennis, because I expect Boots Ennis to beat this Karen Chikdasian guy, right? I know I'm pronouncing the name wrong. And then Earl Spence, they go to purse bid for $200,000-$300,000. He's like, I'm not going for that. They strict him, and they're going to take his belt. They're going to strip him. Now, if they work together, in a perfect world, what should happen is Earl Spence should fight Thurman. Then if he beats him, right? Because look, people keep saying Earl Spence is going to beat Keith Thurman. I think he should win, but I don't think that's an easy fight. Be real with you. Earl Spence fights Thurman, say he wins. He comes now, he fights the winner of Stanley Eunice and Ortiz, say he wins. Then he fights Jaron Ennis. That's 3 fights in 2023 for Earl Spence. And Terrence Crawford, he's sitting over here. So I'm going to point something out to y'all, right? But let me just finish this thing. The sanctioning bodies aren't working together. And you say, nah, if it's for an undisputed distinction, that takes precedence. That takes priority. I'm going to tell you it again. Shut up. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. That is not a given. They have to agree. And look at what's going on in the light heavyweight division right now. Look what happened at 140 with Josh Taylor. If these sanctioning bodies aren't working together and they want to push their mandatory, that blocks the undisputed fight. Or the individual with the belt gets stripped. You look at what's going on right now. Berta Biev and Caleb Smith. Berta Biev and Yardy supposed to be fighting for 3 belts. The winner of that fight wants to fight Bivol for his belt so they can fight for the undisputed distinction at 175, 4-belt era, right? The 2 fighters who are fighting, they're saying if they win, they want to fight for the undisputed. The WBC is coming in and saying, nope, we have a mandatory Caleb Smith. He's going to have next. So although we have a potential to make the undisputed bout, all parties want it, we're saying, no, we don't agree. And they're blocking it. The same way the WBA came and did that crap to Josh Taylor. So for you all saying it's going to happen, no, it's not, man. And when the sanctioning bodies are already pissed off that the fight didn't happen between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, their belts didn't get defended, they didn't make their money, they're not okay with that. A lot of wasted time. So let's come back to what I was going to say. So I just cleared up Errol Spence and his commitment and what he has in 2023. He's got to fight those fights where he gets stripped. They're not stripping him, but that's the direction it could go. But I see Errol Spence fighting because Errol Spence isn't going to duck anybody. But Errol Spence has a lot of weight on his shoulders. He's got some killers he's got to get through. Thurman, no matter what you say, he's a killer. The winner of Stan Eunice Ortiz, killers. Then Ennis, Ennis probably running with Claude and Ray from Life and about to start round 2 of his killing spree on Errol Spence. Like, Ennis passes the eye test. And that just means, bottom line, Errol Spence has an uphill battle. So now we got Errol Spence squared away, Ennis, Thurman, Ortiz, Stan Eunice, right? We kind of got them accounted for. Come back to Terrence Crawford now. So now let's come back down his list. Number 1, Ortiz, accounted for. Ennis, accounted for. They're out of there. They're fighting for in different sanctioning bodies. Keith Thurman, he'll probably lose to Errol Spence. He won't be ready to fight Terrence Crawford when Terrence Crawford returns next year between April, May, and June. Okay? Because Keith Thurman's fighting in April. So Keith Thurman is not, he's the number 3 in the WBO, but he's not an option. He's not an option. Then you got Conor Benn at number 4. Hey, the way things are going, Eddie Hearn, you know Eddie Hearn, Fast Eddie? He's a snake. He can make things happen. I can see now, more than ever, Eddie Hearn finding a way to get Conor Benn in the line of fire to match up there with Terrence Crawford. But I doubt that because Conor Benn's been out the ring for a while, and you don't want to throw him in there with Terrence Crawford. Like, that's suicide, right? So Conor Benn, the number 4, he's out of here. I think he's going to drop off the list anyway. Then number 5, who's next? Alexis Rocha. I've been trumpeting that Alexis Rocha is the next in line for Terrence Crawford. I've been saying that. I'm going to keep saying that. Now, if Terrence Crawford doesn't want to fight Alexis Rocha, the number 6, Evanescence, he just beat him. Then you come down to the number 7, Cody Crowley. I doubt he's going to fight him. Cody Crowley's really not known. He's a good fighter. Then you got Giovanni Santillan. Who knows who that is? Then you got Blair the Flair Cobb. That's the fight to me. Blair Cobb or Alexis Rocha. They're both here stateside. Shouldn't be a problem making the fight. Terrence Crawford can demand a 70-30, 80-20 on those guys because they bring nothing really to the table. But Blair Cobb and Crawford, there's some history because remember, Blair Cobb defeated Crawford's stablemate. Okay? The guy, man, he lost to man, what's his stablemate's name, man? But y'all know who I'm talking about. He beat him. So there's some history there. So realistically, we talking about Terrence Crawford returning next year. Look, it's only maybe Conor Benn, Alexis Rocha, or Blair Cobb. Those guys in between, the Santillan and Crawley, I just don't see those two guys getting in there with Crawford. So what's going to happen to Terrence Crawford, right? Everyone's going to sit there and say how Terrence Crawford is a duck. He ducked Spence. Look, he's fighting Blair Cobb. Or look, he's fighting Alexis Rocha. Terrence Crawford doesn't want to fight anyone. He's a coward, right? That's what they're going to say. But it's not his fault. They're going to probably become his mandatory. Just like Earl Spence, but the mandatories that Earl Spence has is not the same as what's coming Crawford's way. Earl Spence may move up, guy. He may just say, F this. Because, I mean, it's almost like Earl Spence is being set up to lose. I mean, he's going to have to get through some shit to keep them damn belts. Well, Terrence Crawford, he kind of do what he wants. Now, this is the other thing that's becoming a little interesting. Pacquiao's back on the scene, calling for a fight between him and Crawford or him and Spence. We know him and Spence, that can't happen. Unless Spence wants to give up belts. Spence has a bunch of mandatories. Though he wants to fight Pacquiao, he ain't going to get that fight. Now, who can get that Pacquiao fight? Crawford can get that Pacquiao fight. You say why? Because Crawford will fight April through June sometime. Probably April, if Pacquiao and him can work things out. He'll fight his mandatory. Pacquiao do his exhibition bout. Pacquiao just signed with Ryzen. He has an exhibition. He has a fight. He'll fight that. Then after that, I could see Crawford and Pacquiao mixing it up. Or after Crawford gets his mandatory out the way, Crawford and Josh Taylor. Now, even more interesting, Crawford and Josh Taylor can get it on before that. Because Josh Taylor can, what's it called, champion in recess, whatever, he can leave his belts, move up one weight division, and become the mandatory to whoever, which would be Terrence Crawford. And that could be a good fight. And then he would lose, and Taylor would just drop back down to 140 and still be the champion. So that's the reality of what we're looking at. But I'll tell you this. If Earl Spence can clip Thurman, if Earl Spence can clip Ortiz or Stanley Eunice, whoever wins, if Earl Spence can clip Boots Ennis, ain't no need for him to fight no damn Terrence Crawford. If Terrence Crawford can clip all those guys as well, hell he need to fight Spence for. He just cleared out the whole damn division. But they still should fight because it'll be good for us to watch. But if Earl Spence sometime, if he gets through 2023 and beats all of those guys, yeah, I don't even know what else needs to be said. But him and Crawford, that fight, probably more of a 2024 fight. And I think Crawford is amazing talent. I think Spence is too. But I think Boots Ennis is. I think Stanley Eunice is. I think Ortiz is. And it's just being real. I think Thurman is. But I just wanted to bring that to y'all and give y'all the background on how these undisputed bouts have been blocked and what these sanctioning bodies do when things are convenient to them and their pockets. They don't care about that undisputed stuff, man. For years and years, in particular, the WBC has been pushing to try to create like a round robin, an eliminator, till we end up having one champion in every weight division. I'm talking years. And what happens is the WBO, the IBF, the WBC can kind of work with them, or kind of, persuade them, whatever, left or right, whatever direction they need them to go. WBC can't really do so with the WBA. The WBC and WBA bump heads. Suleiman's already gone on record and said, the WBO and IBF, we have a good relationship and we're in agreement. We're just trying to, kind of work with the WBA to being a little stubborn. The WBA is about their money, man. Suleiman can't come out there and strong arm them. If it doesn't benefit them financially, it is what it is. Something else y'all should understand as well, right? I did a video on this months ago, but there's a lot of new people on the channel. When they have these annual conferences where these sanctioning bodies come together and they convene, it should really only be the guys from the sanctioning bodies there or their representatives talking about the fighters, the mandatories, and trying to decide the way ahead to make sure they make the best bouts so the most deserving and the best fighters get to go and fight for the championship. But what happens during these conferences, that's not what you get. You get referees there, promoters there, judges there, and other parties with a vested interest. But you get all these people there, and then what happens, you think? Palms get greased. And that's where you see certain things happen, and certain decisions happen, and certain movements in boxing where you're like, how the hell, how'd this happen? Or you see a fight and you're like, that fight was closer than that. Or this person didn't win. What were the judges watching? Because of the corruption. I'm not making that up. Y'all better get out there and listen to Teddy Atlas and listen to these other promoters and listen to some of these judges. Watch those documentaries. Quit watching these stupid ass YouTube content creators who are just telling you bullshit to get views. And I believe what these guys are saying. And tell you what, if you say, hey man, it's just as bad to listen to what they're saying than a content creator because everyone can be lying. Okay, look at the damn referee who just came out and said he looked out for Pacquiao. All good referees know how to make a long count. Give Pacquiao a 20 count. Don't listen to me. Hey, only the fly on the wall truly knows. Can't interview a fly on the wall. But I'm just trying to kick some knowledge to y'all, man. I don't claim to be the all-knowing. I don't want to be. Yo, I'm chilling. I'm retired. I do this for fun. If I get to 200,000 subscribers, great. If not, you know, maybe I got to work a little harder, or it's cool. But I'm not going to sit here and feed y'all BS. And it's annoying me that no one's breaking this down. So I broke it down in videos before. I'm just not talking about all the other stuff I was talking. I'm just giving it to you raw and uncut. When you look at the list, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the WBO, who's busy? Ortiz, Boots, and Thurman. Conor Ben, we know he's got shit going on. He ain't fighting. After that's Alexis Rocha. Okay? At IBF, Boots Henderson and the number 4, Karen Chukdazian. I'm messing up that last name, I'm sorry. They're fighting. But even the number 2 is vacant. The number 3 is Virgil Ortiz. He's fighting over in the WBA. The number 5 is Keith Thurman. He's fighting in the WBC. You come over to the WBC, you already see what it is. Spence, Thurman, Ortiz, Boots Henderson. Like, it's crazy. Yordenis Ugas is a bit of a wild card, but he's still got to heal up. He's not getting in no damn ring with no damn Terrence Crawford. He's all the way down at number 10. I don't think Ugas is going to go from coming out of a fight with Earl Spence, all that damage he took, blurred vision and everything, and come get in a fight with Terrence Crawford. I just don't see that. But, hey, that could happen. But I really think it's going to be Alexis Rocha or Blair Cobb. But that being said, y'all keep cool. Hope y'all appreciate the video. Yo, subscribe. Do whatever you feel necessary if you got something out of this. I'm in the breeze.